नमस्कार म ठाकुर भण्डारी सामुदायिक वन उपभोक्ता महासंघ नेपालको संघीय अध्यक्ष
Namaste. I'm Thakur Bhandari, the Federal Chair of the Federation of Community Forestry Users Nepal, FECOFUN. I joined the community forestry movement in 1996 to 97. It's been over 25 years now. I first served as chair of my local community forest user group, which had about 300 households. After facilitating discussions there, I became the group's chair. Later, I helped establish the federation, first as district secretary, then district chair. Colleagues encouraged me to move to the national level, where I became a central committee member, a member of the central secretariat, a central secretary, and now the central chair. In short, I have worked across every stage of community forestry and devoted my most energetic years to this cause. We should look at community forestry through three lenses: social, environmental, and economic. 1. Social. Community forestry has helped preserve local culture, traditions, values, and indigenous customary practices. It has organized and unified communities. It has also made a major contribution to leadership development, with regular committee meetings and general assemblies, and inclusive rules requiring 50% women and representation across positions like chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. This practice builds foundational leadership skills. 2. Environmental. By meeting basic needs for fodder, fuel wood, leaf litter, bedding material, etc., community forestry has enabled forest conservation, protection of water sources, and preservation of biodiversity. From timber and non-timber products to medicinal plants and fruits, communities access a range of resources sustainably. 3. Economic enterprise. Many groups have developed enterprises: leaf plate, Duna tapari making, bale juice production, handicrafts, medicinal herb collection, operation of sawmills, and ecotourism. Given Nepal's rich biodiversity and varied geography, groups run small mini zoos, cultural display sites, picnic spots, and other attractions that both conserve culture and generate income. Earnings are shared under legal provisions. 25% of income must go to forest conservation. Of the remainder, 50% goes to capacity building and livelihoods for indigenous peoples, women, and poor vulnerable groups. The rest supports schools, health posts, drinking water systems, roads, children's education, health services, and other social needs. So after the 25% conservation allocation, 50% is invested in women, Dalit, poor households, and the remaining portion goes to broader social development. These are the kinds of benefits community forest user groups realize. Forest sizes range from 0.09 hectares up to 1,500 to 2,000 hectares, even 3,000 hectares in some cases. Household membership ranges from 5 to 7 households to 16 to 18,000 households per group. Nationwide, there are 23,026 community forests, involving 3.2 million households and 16.2 million users, collectively managing about 2.4 million hectares of forest, across very small to very large groups. Many groups focus primarily on protection, prioritizing environmental benefits, green cover, bird habitat, water source protection, without pursuing cash income. Some groups, however, earn 20 to 30 million Nepalese rupees annually through ecotourism or timber sales. Some earn 10 to 20 million Nepalese rupees from medicinal plants. The income sources and levels vary widely. Out of 23,000 groups, only a small fraction earns above 10 million. Many operate in the hundreds of thousands of rupees range. Some earn only thousands, and many remain focused on conservation with no cash income, benefiting instead on the social and environmental fronts I mentioned. This is precisely where the problem lies. We raised this issue under the old centralized system and continue to raise it under federalism. FECOFUN is now in its 30th year. We've argued that if the government had to pay staff to manage 23,000 groups, it would cost billions. Communities have done conservation voluntarily, yet small groups receive little support from the government. Culturally, people see protecting the environment and organizing society as their duty. so they act accordingly. There are occasional technical consultations during operational plan preparation, but not the substantial assistance that should be provided. FECOFUN initiated Nepal's first carbon measurement pilots in Dolakha, Gorkha and Chitwan in partnership with the government, and we've continued to engage. When the climate policy was drafted, we successfully advocated that 80% of all climate and carbon-related funds coming to Nepal should go to communities, with 20% for management and awareness. Recently, however, the government seems to be backtracking. Internationally, communities are still struggling to receive fair compensation for the harms caused by industrial nations. Domestically, the government has proposed channeling funds through its own windows, risking that the money may not reach communities directly. We've made it clear, unless carbon funds reach community forestry user groups' accounts, we will not allow these red carbon programs to be implemented in Nepal. We've told development partners the same. If your programs cannot send funds to communities, we will not allow them. Communities turned barren lands green, protected forests with great care, and we will continue to advocate strongly. Yes, in the 1990s, Nepal had 29% forest and 10% shrubland. Now, forest cover is 46%. The largest contribution is from community forest user groups. They have also prevented encroachment. Where community forests were not handed over, we've often seen urban sprawl or encroachment. Government and FRA reports themselves acknowledge that community forestry has increased the forest area. Some try to downplay community contributions by claiming villages are emptying out, but without community protection, we would not have reached 46%. The credit goes to women, indigenous peoples, Dalits and poor households, not to experts or government. Conservation itself is not our challenge. State policy and laws are. We fought hard to enshrine enterprise, tourism and agroforestry in the Forest Act 2019. The earlier 1993 Act had none of these. Even so, the government is not allowing community forest enterprises to operate effectively. The frequent wildfires you see are not caused by communities. They're a symptom of blocked enterprise. Leaf litter and biomass accumulate because communities are not allowed to collect and convert them into compost organic fertilizer. There's no enabling law to scale products and reach markets. Sales often must go through companies, not directly by community forestry user groups. We've asked for industry registration for community forests. Another major problem is triple taxation. Federal, provincial and local governments all tax community forests. Locals levy 10% per the Local Government Operation Act, Section 62. Provinces are deciding 30 to 35%. And there have been federal attempts to divert 25% of community forestry's income into the federal divisible fund. We opposed this. Governments changed, but the pressure remains. This tax burden threatens community forests' existence. A further problem is operational plan renewal. Plans last 5 to 10 years. Over 7,000 of 23,000 groups still need renewal. Some forestry technicians demand 300 to 500,000 Nepalese rupees per plan, prohibitive for low-income groups. We propose categorizing groups. No-income groups. Issue a simple letter authorizing protection. Small-income groups. A short plan, a few pages. High-income market groups. Larger plans with appropriate cost. Government is receptive, but district forest officer approval remains a bottleneck. Even plans prepared by qualified MSc foresters are not approved. Like Medical Council's authorized doctors, we're asking that trained foresters' inventories be legally recognized. Human-wildlife conflict is another issue. Populations of monkeys, porcupines, and wild boar have increased. Tigers, too. We argue that species in excess should be culled and sold under regulation, while rare species, such as pangolin, red panda, plants like Vijay champa, must be protected. Nepal may only need 100 to 150 tigers. Today, we have approximately 400. We propose regulated export to zoos, even to private owners where legal abroad, with Nepalese identification and breeding centers, because daily human fatalities are occurring. Meanwhile, some discuss conservation from luxury hotels in Kathmandu and blame villagers for collecting fiddlehead ferns or grass. This is a serious wildlife management problem. Finally, climate finance. Industrialized countries caused the damage. Compensation should reach communities, yet there are obstacles. After all communities' hard work, government policies are neglecting them and weakening community forests. Recent political changes have policy implications. We have long argued for using Nepal's timber domestically and exporting surpluses. The government recently decided to give concessions on imported construction materials. If concessions extend to iron or imported timber, we see that as corruption-prone and harmful. Nepal should not subsidize aluminum for doors and windows. It should raise customs on imported timber and facilitate domestic wood reaching markets. Right now, timber rots in forests, gets washed away by floods or burns, yet we can't bring it to market. Communities tender at 1,000 Nepalese rupees, but buyers pay 6,500 to 7,000 Nepalese rupees in the market, evidence of a distorted middle. We've discussed this with the Timber Entrepreneurs Federation and with the government. We could sell community sal timber in Kathmandu for Nepalese rupees 2,500 to 3,000 per cubic feet if policies and intent align. This would help post-disaster household reconstruction, keep dollar outflows down, and if we produce compost/organic fertilizer from forest biomass, it would also reduce imported fertilizer bills. We're advocating on these fronts as well. Thank you.